Rothko was commissioned to do these paintings for one of the most expensive restaurants in New York. He took the commission on with great enthusiasm. He went to rent a new studio down on the Bowery, where he simulated the dimensions of the dining room. And although the restaurant would only have offered space for 7 murals, in the end he executed 30 paintings. So what we've done in the exhibition is really take the Seagull murals as a starting point for his exploration of working in series and as this, to mark it as a turning point in his career. Rothko was always very concerned with how his work would be viewed with the actual conditions, and I think what really interested him was in some way to transport the conditions in which he was working in the studio into a gallery space, rather than seeing them as this very enveloping environment as you usually see them in the Rothko room at Tate. You now see them, I think, in a far more architectural way. They seem to be much more engaged. They appear like portals or windows. They seem to almost break through the wall. The other thing which I thought was very curious when we brought so many paintings together is suddenly they have a completely different pace and rhythm. That rather than just seeming very calm and contemplative, they are moving much faster and are much tougher. They are known as the black form paintings. They were the first series that Rothko himself identified as such by giving them numeric titles in consecutive order from 1 to 8. Though curiously, there are 9 paintings with number 5 appearing twice. And these little inconsistencies are quite typical for Rothko, that there's something very precise, but also a space being left open. What really stands out is that Rothko's engagement with black in these paintings continues to remain far more painterly. If one looks at these canvases, you can see after a little moment, as your eye gets used to the palette really, that they are far from being simply black. They are very dark plums, dark violets, and they often have a bluish, blackish field. There's always still a little color hue in there. And I think one of the things which makes this extraordinary quality of Rothko's canvases is that they are almost like blank cinema screens. You almost have the sense you, as a viewer now, begin to project onto the canvas. So there's a space for response. It's also very much about duration. It's how long can you look? How long is comfortable? How long is long enough? And duration was a very much a concern at the time, where Rothko beforehand had mostly used these floating color fields on a ground. And even still in the Seagull murals, where the relationship between figure and ground in a way had been reversed, it was the frame that had been floating, there was still the sense of there's something behind and something in front, and this very airy connection. These work completely differently. You've got gesture, you've got brushwork, but everything is reduced really to its most quintessential characteristics and then condensed into this seemingly simple but actually quite complex compositional scheme. In 1969, Rothko embarked on his final series of paintings on canvas. Rothko's paintings beforehand had always been projecting from the wall, or so it felt, into the viewer's space, thereby inviting you to sink almost into the canvas and into the color field. There's always a lot of, one is tempted to say, action or drama really happening around where these two fields meet. Sometimes you can see the gray goes over the black, or the black comes back over the gray, and it's almost as though these two fields fold around one another. There's this tendency to read Rothko's late works in terms of psychobiography, to talk about where he was at in his life. Was he depressed is a common question. And I would propose to look at it in an entirely different way. He decided to embark on this very risk-taking venture of conceiving a whole new body of work, a different type of series that questioned everything he had done beforehand, that seemed to push the question of what could painting still do by that point in time. So I see it much more as a reassertion of a painter at the height of his powers rather than of a man in decline.